my goodness, my hair, it is never perfect, right? Sometimes we have this idea of perfection. We want to have the perfect hair, or be in the perfect relationship, or have the perfect grades at school. This idea of perfection can be exhausting. If you think about it, the definition of perfection is to have all the requirements, all of the characteristics that you could possibly have, to be as good as possible. Well, I hate to be a bearer of bad news, but on this earth, perfection is not possible. It doesn't mean that we don't work for it, but we need to change our idea of perfection from what the world says it is to what God says it is. And sometimes in our desire to actually accomplish something great, we become paralyzed by our fear of failure, that what we do isn't going to be perfect, so then what ends up happening is that we don't do anything. So for my vlog, for example, it's something that I have wanted to do for a few years now, but I was like, I don't have the right equipment, it's not the right time, I don't know if I'll have everything that I need to, the environment, the setting, the backdrop, the audio, the video. What if I don't have the right words to say? What if people don't like or view? And so all of this idea of like, I have to just have it all lined out for it to be perfect. Then when it's perfect, well, then it'll be a success. Well, that's not going to happen. I might not always have the perfect words to say, or the perfect backdrop, or the perfect lighting, or the perfect audio. And if you wait for all of those things, it just never gets started. Like if you wanted to go to a trip and you spent all of this time making the perfect plan for what you're going to do. Your car is packed, you have your map, you know everywhere you're going to go. And you actually get nowhere if you don't do something. So my encouragement to you today is that you don't just wait for the timing to be perfect, for the words to be perfect, for everything to sort of fall into place before we act. I'm not saying planning is bad. I'm not saying being prepared is bad. What I'm saying is that if we wait for the perfect moment, well, that moment may not ever come. So if you feel called to do something, if you feel called to share your faith, it may not be your idea of the perfect time or the perfect words or the perfect place. So I encourage you to get rid of this idea of perfect. And if you feel called to do something that we push forward to Christ, not by our ideas of perfection, but on actually taking very practical steps to push forward towards Christ to accomplish His will for our lives. And I was doing some reading in Philippians, and so I would like to share that with you right now. It is not that I have already taken hold of it or have already attained perfect maturity, but I continue my pursuit in hope that I may possess it, since I have indeed been taken possession of by Christ Jesus. Isn't that Bible verse, at least to me, it's so encouraging and empowering that even though we have not attained this perfect maturity, we can hold on to the hope and continue in our pursuit towards God. And so as long as we keep moving forward in our relationship with Christ, that desire to be perfect, in perfect union with Him, is absolutely attainable in heaven. And so I was doing some reading on St. Alphonsus Liguori, and he has actually quite a big list on how to reach like spiritual perfection. I'm going to share with you my top 5. Number 1. Desire ardently to increase in the love of Jesus Christ and speak often of the love of Jesus. Number 2. To do that which is most pleasing to Jesus Christ and not to refuse Him anything that is agreeable to Him. Number 3. To pray as much as possible. All right, here's number 4. To persevere in good works, even in times of aridity or dryness. Do good to those who do evil, and help your neighbor as much as you can. And last but not least, number 5. 5. Always renew your determination of becoming a saint, saying, My Jesus, I desire to be all yours, and you must be all mine. Well, thank you, St. Alphonsus. Incredible words of wisdom. So to leave you with a few words of encouragement, please don't let your idea of perfection paralyze you from actually becoming active, stop you from doing what it is that God is calling you to do, and to just continue in your pursuit for not worldly perfection, but spiritual perfection, working on this whole idea of being holy and being a saint so that one day we can be reunited with God. So thank you again for joining me today. I hope you have a blessed day. Goodbye from the open door.